Misha, well, welcome back, man. It's been a long break for you. Has this been tough on you to have to sit out for so long?
Yeah, it's just been tough. Mainly, just because it's been tough. The main thing is just I've been injured, so just healing and getting back into it, and it is what it is. I couldn't fight, couldn't make living, couldn't do what I love, so it's unfortunate. But at the same time, it happened through the year where everything was kind of closed, and there was not many people training as normal as usual with all the COVID situations and restricted traveling. So it kind of almost like worked out. The 2020 was a bad year for a lot of people, and I'm definitely one of them. And it is what it is. But now we passed that, and it's 2021, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to put on a great fight.
Yeah, what was the injury you were dealing with?
I tore my bicep in the beginning of the year, so I had to do a surgery.
Okay, and was that a tough recovery?
It's a tough recovery because it's my first real injury, and so I had to take proper time to heal it properly and make sure that the functionality and the power is exact same as it was before. And only after that, I would go back into a cage. And it took some time, but it healed up really good, and it's stronger than ever. I actually sometimes feel like that it's stronger than before. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm injury free. I feel great, and I'm ready to go.
Are you still living down here?
Right now, I've been in Las Vegas for 2.5 years now. I enjoy being in Las Vegas because things are like, especially during like all this COVID and everything. Vegas is a little bit more. Things are open here. The gyms are open. Things are open, so you can still enjoy your life. There's a lot of great outdoor spots where you can go and still, live and enjoy your life instead of sitting at home and being told what to do. I really like Vegas. It's a great place.
And obviously, with the injury recovery and everything, like, how do you build your skill set as well when you're going through a recovery like that?
I mean, you can build your skill set by studying, by going to classes, having coaches, watching fights. There's many different ways how you can occupy your mind and get better as a fighter. So I definitely was doing a few of those things.
And you come back to this matchup with Ryan Spann, a co-main event and everything. What do you feel about this matchup? And this is obviously a good spot to kind of remind people of where you're at, right?
100%. It's a co-main event against a very tough opponent who is also skilled everywhere, and I believe that we match up really good. We both bring that athleticism. We both have heavy hands, and we both have skills on the ground. So this is kind of like a pretty complete fight for 205. The past weekend we've seen like 205ers kind of doing more of a stand-up fight, where this weekend you guys are going to see a little bit of everything. I think you guys are going to see the full game of MMA at 205 pounds.
And I'm sure you're slowly trying to build towards the top of that division and stuff. Do you think it was better for the weight class that Jan Blachowicz won instead of Israel Adesanya, just because it kind of gives some normalcy to the weight class? You don't know if Izzy had won, when the belt's going to be defended, all this crazy stuff that could potentially come with that.
The way I look at it, I would enjoy it either way, if Israel Adesanya won or if Blachowicz won, like how he did. I think it's a great for sport. It just shows that 205 division, win or lose, it just shows that 205 division, anything can happen. And it's a tough division, and yeah, there's a lot of great fighters, and anything can happen at 205. It doesn't matter who comes in, what weight class. He could be a former heavyweight. He could be a former 185 pounder. I believe 205 is one of the toughest divisions, because at that division anything can happen. There's guys that have skills, but they're also extremely athletic and explosive, and they're faster than heavyweights, and they're just as strong as heavyweights. We've seen two of the legendary fighters, Daniel Cormier and John Jones. They fight at 205. So, I think it's the toughest division, also because I'm in it.
When you have an injury like you've gone through, how frustrating is it not just to be forced onto the outside, but also to watch the division sort of carry on without you? To see fights play out and think, I could be in there, I could have got that opportunity. How frustrating is that?
It was actually not that frustrating because it was for the first time I was kind of able to take some time, relax, not be worried about I have a next fight coming up, being in a training camp. I was able to really see skill of every 205er, and I was able to kind of see what I would be able to do against them, and it kind of opened my eyes more on what I should be doing. So it was kind of like a good experience for psychological evaluation of other fighters as well. It was good, I was not bummed out and felt like, I'm not fighting and depressed or anything. No, I was still training, doing whatever I could do in terms of training, developing the skill, but also paying attention to every single 205er out there and trying to, in my head, think how I would do against them in that fight when they were fighting, when I was watching.
Who wins, Glover Teixeira or Jan Blachowicz?
This is a very, very interesting fight. It's a very tough fight for both men. However, I believe that Jan Blachowicz is a better stand-up fighter. I believe that he has a better striking. Having said that, I believe Glover Teixeira has a better wrestling and better ground game. And Glover Teixeira is a real veteran. He fought all the toughest guys in the division. He's been through a lot. He's been through ups and downs, and now he's kind of grinding and getting his chance to become a light heavyweight champ. And for some reason, I think that he can make it happen. Jan Blachowicz is a great champion. He's a real champion. He just defended his title. However, I think that he has a serious, big-time, serious challenge ahead of him, even more of a challenge than Israel Adesanya, because Glover Teixeira is going to be looking to drown you, not just standing up, but in wrestling and in the ground game. And we're going to see how Jan Blachowicz is going to react to that, and we're going to see how good his wrestling and ground game is, and if it's good enough to be a light heavyweight champion.
Last time you were in there, you were in a big arena, and now you're going to be fighting in a room with no crowd. Are you excited for that, for your return to fighting, or is that something that you were maybe hoping that your return would be a little bit bigger splash emotionally with the crowd there to push you onward?
When it comes to the crowd, I believe that I would perform better actually without the crowd, the same way when I spar at the gym. We would just spar and there's nobody there, and usually it's quiet or just like some music playing. So I think that it's going to work out in my favor in terms of, because that's how I always train. And I believe that I'll be able to stay in my own head and not follow the crowd, because sometimes crowd can really get me going, and sometimes make unnecessary moves, and that can follow into mistakes. So I think I'm going to benefit from having no crowd. I think it's going to benefit my game.
Now, coming after having an injury and now getting your first fight speed of actually being in there, being in 100%, are you going in there feeling 100%? Because I'm sure there's a lot of fighters that they always say, we're never actually 100%, but are you as close to 100% as you think you can be at that moment? And is there any nerves or worries that until that first round, until you feel how the body feels, that you're, are there any worries about going in there for the first time?
There's always, going into a fight, doesn't matter who you are, even if you're a champion, you will always, have nerves going through your system. That's just like a normal body response. But I think that in my head, I'm in a good place right now, and I think that I'm nervous, but not nervous as I've been before. I can think clear now, and I think that's gonna also help. I think I'm gonna benefit from that, to making better transitions, make better thoughts, and just in a better place in my head right now.
That sounds great. And quickly, if you could, break down your opponent for us. Tell us where he's dangerous and what sort of things do you really need to keep an eye on when you go out there and fight him.
You know, my opponent is really dangerous. He's been on a huge fight winning streak, and he's very athletic. He's strong. He has skills everywhere. He has understanding with submissions, wrestling, striking. So he's a well-rounded fighter. In my opinion, Ryan Spann should be ranked even higher than he is right now, compared to some other guys that skyrocketed and got their rankings so quick. I think that Ryan Spann should be even higher ranked opponent. But it is what it is, and yeah, he's just a very tough challenge, and I'm taking him very serious. And that's why this fight is a co-main event, because it's a very tough fight for both of us.
And speaking of a tough fight, when you look at how the fight could play out in your mind, what things really need to happen? What are the keys to a victory for you to make sure you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
From seeing some of the Ryan Spann's fights, I have to be patient, and I have to fight my fight. I cannot get into kind of like a street brawl where anything can happen, where it's 50-50. I just have to fight smart, and I have to use my MMA skills in this fight.
Best of luck. Congrats.
Thank you so much.